Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Thank you guys for joining. We've got looks like a decent number of participants here. So we'll wait for everybody to kind of connect with their audio. If anybody wants to put video on, feel free to do so. Wonderful.
Sure, I'm not on video.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate it. My name is Teresa Kennedy. I'm one of the co-presidents of the PTSO for Homestead High School. And tonight from 6:45 until 7, we are hosting our senior chat. And we are fortunate to have Miss Monique Porter and Miss Chris Bessler to kind of guide us. I would ask if you do not currently have your mute on, if you could mute that you are muted, so that we're able to hear their presentation. Let's see, I'm kind of looking through everybody. I think there we go. I think I'm muting those who did not. So thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. It's hard to believe that our kids are now seniors and have a very short period of time until graduation. And I know there's a lot of parents that probably have some questions and concerns, and anxieties. So if I could, who would like to kick it off?
I'll be happy to.
Sure. So, okay, I'm going to introduce Miss Chris Bessler. If you could tell us your role and share any information you have about the senior class, senior year, and to finish out the rest of the year strong.
Absolutely. But before I get into that, I want to recognize Mrs. Monique Porter, who is also on this call. Mrs. Porter is one of our assistant principals. She's also the principal of the students in the senior class. So I'm really happy to have her joining me tonight. Mrs. Porter, did you want to say anything before I jump into my words?
I could go first. I just have a few things that I wrote down. Good evening, everyone. I wrote down that we have senior dinner coming up June 4th, which is going to be super exciting. Always a nice event. And then our favorite event, graduation, which is going to be June 9th. Also, I don't think anyone knows this just quite yet, so you guys will be the first to kind of know. There's going to be a meeting for students to come up with a theme for graduation speeches on April 26th. Ms. Cicero will get that in the announcements pretty soon. It's going to be out either tomorrow or Monday, just so students can start thinking about a theme, and then we can kind of get auditions. So if any of your students want to audition to do a graduation speech, that'll be coming up soon, so have them listen to the announcements. Did anyone have, I know Mr. Ebert is going to be on the next call, like the PTSO meeting call, but does anybody have any questions that I could probably answer right now about in regards to graduation? Yeah.
Is graduation inside or outside this year? Do we know?
It's inside.
In the Performing Arts Center?
It's in the field house.
Oh, in the field house. Okay. And are families limited? What's the ticket situation like?
So there's going to be 8 tickets. If you need, we know like sometimes there's split households or family coming in from out of town, different things. If you need additional tickets, you would have to reach out to Nancy Kress, and she'll start with a first come, first serve and create like a waiting list. And if there's parents that or families that don't use their tickets, then she'll allot those to families who wanted additional tickets.
Okay, it's 8 tickets besides the senior, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you said something about senior speeches and a theme.
Yep. So for graduation, we always have seniors present graduation speeches, and so there would be a time where Ms. Cicero meets with some seniors. Whoever can make it, and they'll come up with a theme for what they want the speeches to be around for graduation. Okay. And then once they do that, then she'll do a couple of more little meetings with them to kind of figure out how to write a graduation speech, to kind of getting them prepared for those students who would like to audition to be one of the speakers at graduation. And then we would have our auditions for graduation speakers, and then we would choose 3 to 4 speakers for graduation.
Thank you. Perfect.
No problem at all.
There was a question in the chat from Trina. Is senior dinner for just students or students and parents?
It's just for students.
And just to add to that, we do have a senior dinner committee. If anybody wanted to be on that, Kim Zeiss and Gina Promenko are the chairs of the senior dinner, and they need help with decorations, getting the food, setting up. So if anybody wanted to be a part of that, you would be more than welcome to reach out to them. And then the actual Sunday night, it's just students in the Performing Arts Center watching a slideshow. Then they can have their pictures taken with whatever college gear, if they're going to college or whatever their after high school plans are. And then they move to the cafeteria where they will have a senior dinner with speeches and get a little program.
Mhm.
Somebody else has asked, is the field house accessible to people with difficulty walking?
Yes, you would come right through the Highlander walkway, and then you can come straight in and have a seat. If I don't know if they have a wheelchair, but if they need one, we do have one additional one that we can help, get whoever the guest is in. If you need any accommodations, I would say reach out to Nancy Crest just so we can have things all prepared ahead of time, so everything can run smoothly.
And somebody else had their hand up, I think. What is the date and time of the ceremony? Do we know?
Yep, so June 9th, the ceremony will be at 6, but students will have to be here at 5 in order to get them all situated in their rooms and have them usher out in a form of fashion. So. Okay,
so Friday, June 9th, students there at 5, ceremony starts at 6, and approximately how long does it last?
It's about an hour.
That's
Would you say, Chris, about an hour, give or take?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any, and prior to graduation, just for parents who maybe this is their first senior, they will be picking up their graduation tickets and their grad greeting book. I want to remind senior parents that we are continuing. Thankfully, Christina Rader has agreed to take on grad greetings, and the deadline is the quick turnaround, May the 1st. And you can submit grad greetings not only for your student, but other seniors as well. And if you know junior parents or junior families that are friends with your student, they can submit them as well. And the grad greeting booklets we hope to have ready at pickup when they are getting the rest of their graduation stuff as well at school. And they're personalized, so your student only gets the grad greetings in the book for your student, just so you know that. But I'm assuming there will be a lot more information forthcoming.
Yeah.
It's just the save the date kind of info.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any other questions? I'm trying to look across. I don't see any hands up. Thank you so much, Ms. Porter. How is the year going with the seniors?
It's going good. So far, so good. We're almost
Are
there.
they still hanging in there, or have they kind of thrown in the towels and senioritis?
I would say there's some senioritis going on. We just got to get them there. We'll got to get them to the finish line. They'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Somebody wants to clarify, and I am just going to clarify, each family, the senior does not need a ticket. Each family will receive 8 tickets total, and their own senior does not need one. So I just want to clarify that as well.
Yep, correct.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Miss Bessler.
All right.
Your words of wisdom as you go through a senior year and a senior year again.
Here we go. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. I've done this a few times, and the older I get, the more meaningful these events are for seniors and then also for parents of seniors. The first time that I spoke at this, which was a coffee, it was during the school day. It was the senior parent coffee, and I was going through it myself. My oldest daughter was a senior, and so I was really pondering and reflecting what that meant to have a child graduate from high school. And I realized as I was speaking much of what I'll be talking about tonight, I looked around the room and I had made about half of the room cry. And so every time I approach this event, my goal is always not to make you cry at all. But my heart is with you. I've had 2 children myself who have graduated from high school, and my youngest just graduated from college in December. So I am now finally on the other end of this, and they are both employed and relatively independent, not emotionally independent, well, we won't go there, but anyway. So I just relate to this very much as both a parent, as well as a counselor, as well as a professional who has worked with your children for the past 4 years. So this is a lot of fun for me to do. This is a good thing that you get together, that you host events and do things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you some helpful hints of getting them to the end of senior year, and then also when they do leave, for those that are leaving in August. Most of them would be leaving in August. So just some helpful hints about that transition of things that are coming up over the next several months. So just in terms of getting them to the end of the year, we're noticing some changes in some of the students in terms of their routines. And so whatever you as parents can do to help them stay on their routine or in their routine with their sleep, with their exercise, with their fresh air, with their food, with their behaviors, with their kids, with their friends, with behaviors with technology. So just try as best as you can, try to keep them in their routine, keep parenting, keep those expectations high. We are noticing, and Monique and I both sort of chuckled, we are noticing some of the senior slump, senior slide, hard to keep them engaged academically. But it's more than just the academics. It really is the whole lifestyle for the kids. And just to keep them making those healthy decisions and keep that healthy routine until the very end. And we're just practicing good life skills, and we're modeling good life skills for them so that when they are on their own, they remember and that they know what to do. Continue with, as I mentioned, continue with the technology use as well. And if to the best of your ability, overseeing that. I saw a recent survey that said most students are spending anywhere from 5 to 12 hours a day utilizing technology, and that can interfere, as we know, with being successful in college and in life. So just continuing to model and to talk with them about appropriate and good use of technology. Although they grimace, they eye roll, by the way, when they're 25, they still eye roll, but they do, but they are listening. They might not always want to hear what you're saying, and of course, in moderation, but they are listening. They are still listening. So please continue to tell them what your expectations are of being good humans that we know that they can be. We are encouraging good attendance with our students until the end of school. The senior privilege does allow students to receive their exam exemptions, but they do have to meet the criteria. They do have to have a B- or above in the classes that they wish to exempt. They also cannot have more than 6 absences. And if they meet that criteria, there's a few other things with discipline related to that, but they are able to exempt all of their classes, try 3 of their senior year if they do meet that criteria. So that's a little incentive that we keep out there for them to keep them coming to school and to keep them engaged. Certainly, if you have questions about any of this, you can reach out to either Monique or any of the principals or your child, me or your child's counselor. We are, of course, happy to answer those questions. So we're going to go back in time a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of summary information about this year's senior class. This year's senior class started with the summer application workshops, which was in August. We had about half of the seniors in the class that did attend one of the summer application workshops. And then shortly thereafter, we have had requests in the counseling office for 2,391 transcripts to send off to colleges. That is, I believe, a record for us since I have been keeping track of this. So 2,391 transcripts have been sent on behalf of 87% of the senior class. That's a very normal number for us. Close to 90% of our students will pursue some sort of post-high school education. Whether it is a 2-year, a 4-year, or a technical. So that's very normal. That's very average. The senior class this year is a little bit big. It is 346 students in the senior class. And so far, we have had 64 of the students have designated in Navient student where they will be attending college. Now, I want to pause here for just a moment because now is where I need your help. So I need your help getting them. All the other stuff I talked about, for sure, we're working in collaboration with you. But with Navient student, we absolutely must have their Navient accounts updated with the results of all of the colleges that they have applied to. Because this is the only way that we know to send their final high school transcript. Colleges require evidence that they have graduated from high school. So we can't do this until June. And I know you are all receiving some requests, or your kids are receiving requests for that final transcript, but we can't send it until it is date stamped of the graduation date of June 9th. And then what we do is we look in Naviance, and what your child designates as their college choice, that is where we will send that final transcript saying that they are in fact a high school graduate. So please help us out with that. We remind them as well, but that is probably one of the most critical pieces of information because it is what allows us to send that final college transcript. Just to give you some more numbers and some more data of some of the more popular colleges that our students applied to this year. This year, we did have a record number of transcripts sent to Madison. We sent 170 transcripts to Madison. So far, it's an incomplete number. So this is an incomplete number, but so far we've had 63 students admitted. There are more than that. Those are the students that updated their Naviance account, and not everyone has done that. So we know that number will go up. That number is
so almost half of the senior class applied to Madison.
Yep. And that is a national trend that is happening right now. Colleges are seeing a dramatic increase in college applications from students. Since test scores have become optional, students are applying to more colleges and universities, hoping that their transcripts will be able to get them into schools. And we are certainly seeing that at Homestead as well. We are processing a lot more applications and transcripts for our students. And that aligns very much with the national trend. Yes. Yep. We had 133 apply to the University of Minnesota, 94 to UWM, 59 to Marquette, 27 to Northwestern, 16 to MATC, 27 to ASU, those that want to escape our winters. Boulder, we sent 40. That was big. Actually, that was an increase too. So anyway, just interesting numbers to share with you of our students and where we had some larger numbers. So I like to pause here. Even though 90%, give or take, of our students are choosing to apply to 2- and 4-year schools and attend and pursue, we still have about 10% of our senior class that is choosing another path. Some of those students are choosing an apprenticeship or an internship. Some of our students are choosing a service-based gap year, and some of our students are going directly into the workforce. We hear at Homestead so much emphasis on college. I would actually argue, I think we end up spending more time with our students and servicing our students who choose not to go to college. and because we want to make sure we're meeting the individual needs of every student. And so we do that. And so it doesn't matter to us what they choose. We just want them to have a path. If you have any questions for your child at all with whatever your child's plans are, please reach out to your child's counselor if it doesn't seem clear yet. And I know many students are still making those final decisions, but please know that we are here for your kids, no matter what their plan is, no matter what their plan is after high school. I've made a couple college visits recently just to keep up to date on what's happening on the college end of things. And in my old notes were some notes from COVID when colleges were shut down and COVID vaccination status. And the only thing that I will tell you is there are still some colleges that have not necessarily all virtual, but some of them do still have some hybrid classes. Not all colleges have all of their classes in person. And so that's just something that your child will want to be aware of when he or she is picking their college classes this summer. I think we all feel like we're beyond it. It's over. We're all in person. But some of the college campuses aren't entirely embracing that yet. So just something for your child to be aware of this summer when they are choosing their classes. And colleges will send information about vaccinations and things like that. Right now, many of our seniors, and I've been seeing a lot of seniors in my office lately. A lot of seniors in my office lately who are having questions about, a lot of them are having questions about financial aid, college costs, student loans, housing, roommates, those types of things. And what I would like to say about that is, first of all, the students must read their emails that they are receiving from the colleges and universities. And as a mom, I can tell you this becomes extremely frustrating because they don't communicate with you as the parent. My kids' colleges did not communicate with me. They only communicated with my child. And so if the kids aren't reading their emails and the emails are instructing them to set up their portals on the college campus, if the kids aren't doing this, they are missing really critical information. And over again, over the past 2 weeks, I have been working with kids who have incomplete financial aid or incomplete housing applications. So it is just something that I like to bring up when I have a group of parents of please make sure that your sons and daughters are reading the emails and setting up the portals on the college campuses, because they are going to miss critical information if they don't. And this one continues to make me laugh, not really, but it is frustrating. And so the communication even applies to their bill, their college bill. So the tuition bill will come out in July, at least that's what it did for my kids. The college tuition bills will come out in July, but you do have to access the portal to pay the bill. And your child has to give you permission to have access to that portal. In my family, my husband and I were involved in paying the bill, as I know many of you are as well, only we weren't given access to it until our daughters gave us permission. So just so you know that is one of those things that you just don't expect. But just make sure that your kids are communicating with you, make sure they're reading their emails, and then also make sure that they're adding you to their accounts as well.
Could I add something to that, Ms.
Yes,
Bessler?
of course.
I only have one in college, but for health disclosure, health information as well, if your child is over 18 when they go to college, my husband and I filled out like a medical release, emergency kind of thing, allowing us to have permission to talk to the health center, or if she had to, God forbid, go to the hospital or something like that, releasing that the hospital would be able to provide us information. So if your child is over 18, you might want to think about some kind of a medical release as well, so that you can talk to providers if necessary.
that seems to come up on this call every year as well, or this meeting every year. And that is great. That is great advice as well, to make sure that you have that legal permission to make decisions and to be involved, and even just to be notified as well. Shifting gears a little bit here, the civics exam. So the state civics exam is a 100 question multiple choice exam that all students attending public schools in the state of Wisconsin must earn at least a 65 on this. And about half of our seniors right now have taken it, which means half have not. They cannot walk across the stage and they cannot get their diploma if they do not take their state civics exam. So that is something that you will want to ask your child about, just to make sure that they have taken it. Also, feel free to email your child's counselor. It's very quick and easy for us to look that up. Very soon, we will be giving opportunities and pushing and begging and pleading for them to get this done, and opportunities in school to get it done. But it's much easier and it is better for them if they take it at home and just get it over with. So, but reach out to your child's counselor. We can send you the link to it, and we can check and see if they have taken it and passed it. But they have to. They cannot graduate if they don't take it. So I have a couple of comments just on the moodiness of kids. Senior year is really stressful for them. They think that they are completely independent, that they are on their own, and that they don't need us, their parents, anymore. And it is this battle of push me, pull you. It can be very frustrating in the family. It can be disruptive to the family as well. I just want you to know it really is normal. I also do feel it can get worse before it gets better. But in time, they do grow to appreciate the home, to appreciate mom and dad, to appreciate whoever the supportive adults are in their class. But I always, during this call, always like to make a comment about the moodiness, because that is something where they really think that they're ready to leave. They think they're ready to go home. They think they're ready to be on their own, but then they're scared kids all at the same time. And so I just like to bring this up. It's hard, and the summer before they leave is hard, but they will survive for sure, and you will survive as well. I think along those lines, my only real piece of advice on that one is just make sure that you have a communication plan in place for communicating with them before they leave. It is different now than when we were in school. The use of this thing right here, these cell phones that we have, really has changed communication, including with how we communicate with our kids, for those students who are going to college. I had insisted with my kids, with my own children. I wanted to see their face once a week. We have the technology to do it. We can FaceTime with them. And I insisted, and we made ours on Sundays. And I insisted on seeing them once a week. I just wanted at least to check in once a week. You can call me, you can text me as much as you want, but I want to have a real conversation. So I do strongly encourage that you schedule that with them. Don't leave it up to them. They're going to say, oh, I'm too busy and I don't want to, and whatnot. But the truth is they do want to, they just don't want to say it. And so if you schedule it, it takes it off of them. So whatever time works. Ours was always on Sundays around dinner time. And I did insist on that. Initially, when my daughter went to college, I wasn't thinking that way and I wasn't scheduling it, and we were a little bit more lax about it. And then I just realized that we weren't communicating enough, quite honestly, and that wasn't the right move at all. So take advantage of the technology. We can use it very much for good. And I think that this is one of those examples of using it for good. So those really are the comments that I wanted to make tonight. Please help us, help you. We want to. we can, I think if the more that we communicate, the better we can get them to the end of the year. If your child's counselor can support you or your child in any way as we are moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're going to keep counseling. We need you to keep on parenting. And if there's anything that we can do, and I mean that in all seriousness, this is big stuff. We expect everyone to graduate from high school, but there's a very much a life cycle change and emotional component to all of this. And we just want to help you get through it as smoothly as possible. And I am happy to take any questions if you want to put them in the chat. I'm happy to take a look here.
Yes, someone had asked, what is the link for the civics exam? Students had issues locating it.
You got it. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. If you give me a second, I will be happy to find it. It's under homes. Oh my gosh, my computer is so slow. It is under Homestead High School. And it is under student, I just wasn't seeing it, students and families. And then it's under technology resources. But what I'm going to do is I am going to copy this. And I will put
I
it
think
in
there's
the-
also a search thing on the website. You can probably type in civics
Yep,
as
for sure.
well and get to it. But
Yep, no, I've got it. I'm putting it in right now.
awesome, thank you.
Yep.
And then Mrs. Porter unfortunately had to leave, but we thank her for coming. And she says if anyone has any questions to please reach out. Somebody has asked about an email or phone contact for Nancy to obtain additional tickets. If you go to Homestead High School's website, there you click on, you can either type in her name or you can search by administration and staff and type in her name that way. And her direct phone number will come up with her email address as well.
And I did just put her email address in the chat as well.
Thank you
I
so
don't
much.
know her phone number off the top of my head, or I would put that in there, but I don't know it.
Yeah. The website really, they really made some good changes to the Homestead website. So if you have any questions, there's a whole bunch of links you can go to for frequently asked questions. Who do I contact about what? And then of course the search bar where you can look up any information that you might need. Do we have any other questions for Ms. Bessler regarding senior year, things that are coming up? So pretty much the things left are the grad greeting deadline, the senior dinner. There will be emails coming out about submitting pictures of your students at school or school related activities, graduation. Another question just came through. When does the school email stop working?
Yeah, that's a good question. Their school email stops working on July 1st. And so if your child in many of them in their college applications, they won't use a personal email, they'll use their school email address. So you just want to make sure that with any communication with colleges that they have that they change it to their personal email. But this is one of those areas that causes some confusion for the students. The students right now, even as just an accepted student, they are expected to check their school email at the colleges where they have applied. And so it does transition away from either their personal Gmail account or their Homestead High School account, and any of the information again about housing orientation, registration, paying bills, all of that, scholarships, all of that will be in their college email account.
Thank you. I do have a quick question. You mentioned scholarships. I know we get lots of notices about different scholarships that are available either through Homestead or community scholarships and such. When are students notified, or when do we know if our student has received a scholarship that they have applied for, separate from their college, but through Homestead offerings?
So there, we do have quite a few scholarships that are that students can apply for through Homestead High School. The deadlines for those have passed. But the awards night, the scholarship and awards night is on May 15th, but that is an invitation only event. So if your child receives an invitation to that event, that is because they are being recognized for what we call the local scholarships. So we have many local organizations that support our students. And there is a team of faculty that gets together and determines, based on the students who have applied for those scholarships, who's receiving them. We also give the Frank, if any of you are familiar with the Frank Scholarship, there are quite a few awards that are given away that evening, but that is an invitation event. So, so for kids who receive invitations to that event is being held on May 15th. So that is when those particular scholarships, the notification takes place for those.
Okay, do you know when invites go out for that?
I honestly think they usually go out about the first week in May. There are some of the organizations and foundations that do not make the decision on the recipients until quite late, unfortunately. And so we can't invite the students until we hear who the winners are. So it's somewhat out of our control. And in some cases it is, in some cases it isn't, but that's why. So yeah, so it's usually the first week in May.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much all of the scholarship deadlines have passed for this coming up fall, correct?
I'm trying to think. I mean, all of the ones that we know, all of the ones that we award, yes, those have all passed.
Okay.
But I would still, if you are still looking into financial assistance or have any questions about paying for college, the folks in the financial aid offices at the colleges and universities are truly, they are extremely helpful people, and they would be able to help you, and they would have information, because the colleges truthfully are the greatest source of assistance for the students. And so that is always the best place to ask.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Does anybody have any other questions for Ms. Bessler? You can turn on your phone or your audio or video or put it in the chat.
Someone did ask for more detail on the senior dinner, but I don't know anything about the senior dinner. I mean, I know when it is and that kind of thing, but I'm assuming you'll be giving more information on that.
We'll be getting more information. I'm not sure if you were on. Kim Zeiss and Gina Permenko are the chairs, and they are looking for people to help. They typically will start decorating on Friday night in the cafeteria, and they make it a pretty nice event. They ask prior to the senior dinner for parents and students to submit pictures of the students in school or school-related activities. And then there's a committee that puts together a slideshow. The students come to Homestead on Sunday, June 4th. So the Sunday before graduation. It is students only, and they typically wear the spirit wear of what they are doing post-graduation. They do a slideshow presentation in the auditorium or the Performing Arts Center. Then there's typically a balloon arch or some kind of background that they get the groups of kids together who are all going to the same school, take pictures, they filter into the cafeteria. Miss Molly's Catering is a pasta bar doing the catering. There are some administration and staff there. So students do their presentations, or it's kind of like an open mic kind of thing, some speeches and stuff. And then they also get a program. And it's kind of just like a fun little dinner for seniors only. The only parents that tend to be there are the ones that are helping out either on the committee or with the decorating and such, because you then need to clean up. So if you want to be there, you can reach out to either Kim or Gina, and that's the information I have as of this point. So, well, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to really encourage everyone. We were talking about anxiety and such, and we have Dr. Michael Mazius. He is a psychiatrist from the North Shore Counseling Center. He is a great speaker with a wealth of information, and he is joining us for our PTSO meeting from 7:30 to 8:30. He has kindly put together a presentation on stress and anxiety with the teens and kind of how to push but support, especially those students who will be moving on and making life changes with college and independence and everything that comes with that. So I really encourage and would love for all of you to join us on that at 7:30. We start with a brief update from Mr. Ebert, a presentation from the student council rep, and then Dr. Mazius will give us his presentation with time for question and answers at the end. So if nobody has any further information, thank you very much once again, Ms. Bessler, for all of your wealth of information. And please feel free to reach out to her with any questions or concerns.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. Have a good
Okay.
rest of your night.
Yep, bye-bye.
Okay, good night, everybody.